When you consistently say yes, when your whole body screams no, you're abandoning your own capacity to make decisions from center. When you shrink your vision to match what other people call acceptable, you abandon your ability to imagine a bigger future. When you keep quiet to avoid upsetting someone else, you abandon your voice. And when your daily life turns into a negotiation between what you want and what others want from you, opportunities start slipping right through your fingers. Not because the universe is holding anything, but because self-abandonment makes you unavailable for the things that require confidence and an aligned version of you to step forward. Self-abandonment blocks abundance in the most practical ways. Someone living in constant self-betrayal can't recognize opportunity because they're too busy filtering their decisions through fear, guilt, and obligation. Someone who doubts their right to have more won't be able to act on an opening when it appears. Someone who waters themselves down to maintain peace cannot hold the weight of a blessing that demands strength. And someone who prioritizes what others think over what they know internally will always move too slowly to claim what life is trying to offer. When the field shook, some people reacted chaotically. When chaos appeared, many returned to old patterns for safety. You didn't. You stayed present, you stayed coherent, you stayed aligned, even when it cost you comfort and familiarity. That is why this moment recognizes you, not emotionally, structurally. Reality doesn't trust promises or good intentions. It trusts demonstrated proof, and proof is coherence maintained under sustained stress. You weren't spared from chaos or given an easier path. You moved through it without becoming it. That's the qualification. That's why your role feels heavier now, because once coherence is proven through pressure, responsibility activates automatically. The field no longer treats you as someone who might wake up someday. It treats you as someone it can build through right now. This is what it truly means to be chosen in a planetary transition. Not selected by beings, not elevated by status or special bloodline, but recognized because you become stable enough to carry the future frequency. The chaos did its job perfectly. It burned away what was false, it exposed what was weak, it pressured what was unresolved, and now it quiets gradually. What follows is not celebration, it's construction. Silent, precise, permanent. A wise soul walks gently even when their life begins to change in beautiful ways. Their voice remains calm, their heart remains soft, their spirit continues to remember the days when faith was the only thing holding them together during storms. God often entrusts greater blessings to those who've learned to carry small blessings with humility. When a person understands how to remain grateful during little moments, they also learn how to remain steady during greater moments of abundance. This is the quiet path of the chosen one. It's not a path of loud display or constant explanation. It is the peaceful road where gratitude grows quietly within the heart while wisdom guides every step forward. The heart of a chosen one begins to change slowly when the wisdom of God settles deeply within the spirit. Life no longer feels like a race to impress the world, and the need to prove success to others begins to fade quietly, like distant echo. Blessings can then arrive without disturbing the calm rhythm that God has planted within the heart. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you're vibrating in the energy of debt or worry, you can work 20 hours a day and you will still be broke. The universe is a mirror. For you to see millions in your account, you must first feel millions in your spirit. The vibrational detox. The universe had to remove the beggar from your soul so that the sovereign could take the seat. If he had given you $1 million when you were still light and untested, you would have lost it. To the first narcissist you met, but now you're heavy. You carry weight in the spiritual realm, and in the 2026 economy, spiritual weight equals financial wealth. You are not looking for a job, you're looking for a mission. The matrix is failing because its source code was built on a lie. The lie of scarcity. It taught you that there's only so much to go around. It taught you that before you win, someone else must lose. It taught you to compete, to compare, to consume. But Kingdom Wealth of 2026 operates on a completely different system. Law of overflow. To receive the new financial system, you must remove the old software. You can't use slave logic to manage kingdom resources. Coherent signals. Your nervous system is not just a bundle of wires carrying signals. It is an antenna. It is a broadcasting system. Every moment of every day, your body is sending a signal into the field around you, and that signal is determined not just by what you think, not by what you say, not even by what you consciously intend, but by the state of your nervous system. When your system is locked in chronic activation, when there's micro tension in your jaw, tightness across your chest, a subtle vigilance scanning every room you walk into, your body is broadcasting a very specific frequency. That frequency is contraction, and contraction stabilizes familiar outcomes. It keeps collapsing the same reality over and over again because familiarity to a nervous system equals survival. It does not matter that the familiar reality is painful. It does not matter if the familiar patterns are limiting. The nervous system does not optimize for happiness, it optimizes for predictability. And as long as your body is broadcasting contraction, the field around you will continue to organize in ways that match that signal. This is the mechanism that most people never see. They look at their external circumstances and ask why nothing is changing. They try new strategies, they set new goals, they read new books, they attend new seminars, they make new plans, and still the same patterns appear, the same relationship dynamics, the same financial cycles, the same emotional experiences, wearing different costumes, and they conclude that they're doing something wrong, that they're not trying hard enough, they're missing some key piece of information. But the information is not the issue. The signal is the issue. The empathic woman. At the beginning, the empathic woman feels other people's emotions almost before she feels her own. She opens before she evaluates, she gives before she asks, she believes before she observes. And that emotional permeability is not weakness, it's a genuine psychological gift, but without something else to balance it, that gift can only become a vulnerability. Jung described this condition as the psyche without a membrane. A psyche that absorbs everything. It feels the pain of others as if it were its own. It takes responsibility for emotions that were never actually its responsibility. It confuses empathy with the duty to fix everyone else's problems, and because of this, many empathic women grow up believing something very damaging, that caring for themselves is selfish. So they give and give and give until they're emotional system reaches a limit, and that limit is not just psychological. Modern neuroscience calls it compassion fatigue, a descent into darkness, a period of loss, confusion, and emotional pain, not because suffering is noble, but because some forms of clarity can only appear after illusions are shattered. Vision can't be purchased, can't be taught through books, can't be gained through advice alone. It emerges after a person has lost enough illusions that nothing remains to cloud perception. And this wasn't the end of something, it's the doorway. Jung called this the activation of the wise woman archetype. And when this archetype awakens, something very important changes. The psyche develops a new capacity, not hardness, not cynicism, not emotional shutdown, but vision. The difference between the empathic woman and the wise woman is not that one feels and the other doesn't. The difference is this. One feels and believes what she feels without question. The other feels and sees. She sees patterns. She observes actions over time. She understands the difference between what people say and who they are and what their behavior consistently reveals. Jung famously wrote that the unconscious never lies. Words can lie, promises can lie, intentions can lie, but patterns of behavior repeated over time rarely do. The wise woman reads those patterns, not with cynicism, but with clarity. And clarity is very different from cynicism. Cynicism assumes the worst before looking. Clarity simply sees what is, without distortion, without wishful thinking. And the most important thing to understand about this transformation is that the wise woman did not lose her empathy. She evolved it. Empathy without insight makes you feel the wolf's pain and open the door. Empathy with insight allows you to understand the wolf's suffering and still keep the door closed, because understanding someone's wounds does not require you to receive the damage they cause. The world often celebrates success suddenly, but it prepares people slowly. What looks like an overnight transformation is usually the result of countless quiet moments that nobody saw. Moments where you stayed disciplined while others relaxed. Moments where you continued learning while others stopped improving. Moments where you chose patience instead of frustration. Those invisible decisions build the foundation for every visible breakthrough. That quiet growth is the reason why unexpected things begin to move in your direction. Because when a person spends enough time developing their awareness, their discipline, and their patience, life eventually responds. But it barely responds slowly, it responds suddenly. Divine currents. The matrix teaches you to manifest through your own ego. It tells you to demand from the universe. But the servant of the Almighty, it does not demand. A servant supplicates. The art of sincere supplication is the most powerful tool in divine blueprint. It is the direct line between the needy and the all-sufficient. However, many people pray without being present. They repeat words with their tongues while their hearts are distracted by their phones,